What if I told you that one of the most powerful tools for your health isn't hidden in the gym, isn't some exotic supplement, isn't flashy at all, but something you already do? Most likely you're doing it daily, maybe not even thinking about it, and yet it has profound effects on your body, your longevity, your clarity, and yes, to a light degree your hormone balance. I'm talking about walking, just moving, not sprinting, not burning out on gym equipment, but plain old walking. And today we're going to dive deep into exactly why this simple activity deserves far more respect than we usually give it. I've been tracking mine lately using the Ultrahuman Ring. It's been great for monitoring steps, sleep and recovery. I'll talk a bit more about that later on in the video. It's not a paid sponsorship, but if you're curious, I've added a link in the description with a discount. Let's get into it. Let's start with the big picture: longevity, disease risk, lifespan, because sometimes a simple habit has the power to shift major markers in your health profile. One landmark study titled Daily Steps and All-Cause Mortality, a meta-analysis of 15 international cohorts, looked at adults across multiple nations and found a clear inverse relationship between the number of steps per day and risk of death. More steps, lower mortality. This means that even moderate increases in walking correlate with meaningful reductions in death risk. Another more recent meta-analysis titled Daily Steps and Health Outcomes in Adults, a systematic review and dose-response meta-analysis, pointed out that taking around 7,000 steps a day was associated with substantial reductions in risk of multiple diseases without needing 10,000 steps to get there. So what the data screams is, you don't need to go all out, you just need to move consistently, and walking becomes your stealth weapon. How much walking is enough? Now you're asking, okay, but what's enough? Let's break it down. From the research in that meta-analysis covering 57 studies, various outcomes, it was found that 7,000 steps per day corresponded with about a 47% reduction in all-cause mortality, compared to very low step counts around 2,000 steps. It also showed reductions in things like dementia, 38%, falls, 28%, cardiovascular disease, 25% at the 7,000 step level. Importantly, benefits began even at much lower levels. Even going from say 2,000 to 4,000 steps per day appears meaningful. One study, Association of Daily Step Patterns with Mortality in US Adults, found that even doing 8,000 plus steps just 1 to 2 days per week was associated with low mortality versus none. So if you're walking some, you're already ahead. But if you push towards 7,000 steps daily or equivalent volume, you hit a sweet spot. What happens in your body when you walk? Let's get into the mechanics. Why does walking deliver so many advantages? Metabolic processing and glucose handling. Walking engages large muscle groups: quads, hamstrings, glutes. When you contract these big muscle groups, you facilitate glucose uptake, even independent of insulin. This means less burden on your pancreas and better blood sugar regulation. Fat oxidation and muscle sparing. Walking at moderate pace tends to favour fat use as fuel, especially when you're moving for longer durations at lower intensity. Studies such as effects of walking speed on total and regional body fat in middle-aged women show slow walking over longer time produce greater total fat loss than faster walking in that study. Also, research in sedentary populations, for example, walking around the preferred speed, examination of substrate oxidation during walking in sedentary young men by Majid et al. 2024, revealed maximal fat oxidation and substrate shift at moderate walking speeds. Joint-friendly and sustainable. Walking is low impact. It doesn't beat up your joints like repeated heavy running or plyometrics might. That means sustainability. If you want a habit that lasts decades, walking wins. Circulation, angiogenesis and muscle health. When you move and contract your leg muscles repeatedly, you improve local blood flow, capillarization, more small blood vessels and nutrient delivery to tissue. Over time, this supports better muscle activation, recovery and helps prevent that muscle loss path that many fall into as they age. Mental and hormonal ripple effects. Walking outdoors in daylight gives you sun exposure for vitamin D, helps regulate circadian rhythm, lower stress. All these indirectly influence hormone balance, energy, mood and yes, we'll touch later, testosterone. In short, walking isn't just doing cardio, it's a prime mover for whole body health through multiple axes. Let's talk about walking and muscle preservation. How does it spare muscle? One big myth is walking won't build muscle, so it's irrelevant if I care about strength or physique. The truth? Walking may not generate huge hypertrophy like squats or deadlifts, but it supports preservation of muscle. That matters as much as building new muscle when you're optimizing long-term health and hormones. So how? Regular muscle contractions of large muscle groups maintain neuromuscular activation, blood flow, nutrient delivery. That means less dormant muscle. Because walking uses predominantly fat as fuel as moderate intensity, you're less likely to tap deeply into muscle protein breakdown, especially compared to very high intensity cardio or severe calorie deficits. Also, when you walk consistently, your baseline energy expenditure increases, which means your body prefers to keep active tissue, muscle, rather than stripping down. A controlled study, effects of 10-week walking and walking with home-based resistance training on muscle quality, muscle size, Yoshiko et al. 2018, found that older individuals who simply walked improved muscle quality, reduced echo intensity of thigh muscle, and when walking plus resistance training did even better. So while walking alone might not turn you into a bodybuilder, it provides critical baseline muscle preservation support, and that matters usually when optimizing hormones and long-term vitality. The hidden benefits: cognitive, mood, longevity. Walking isn't just about calories in, calories out. It plays in realms often ignored. Brain health and dementia risk. That meta-analysis showing 38% lower dementia risk with 7,000 steps daily is huge. Depression and mood regulation. Movement of any kind is beneficial for mood. That walking shows a 22% lower risk of depressive symptoms at 7,000 steps is solid data. Longevity and mortality. As already previously covered, less death risk, longer life when you just commit to walking. Now a realistic plan on how to make walking work for you. First thing is track progress. Use a smartwatch, phone step tracker, or a wearable like the Ultrahuman Ring, which I've personally been using to monitor my steps, sleep and recovery. It's helped me stay more consistent and aware of my daily movement. But here's where it gets really interesting. The ring actually tracks vitamin D through sun exposure. It calculates your ideal outdoor times based on your skin type, location, and the current UV index. And its power plug monitors vitamin D absorption in real time. That's a potential game changer for hormone health because adequate vitamin D levels are strongly linked to high testosterone, better mood, and improve recovery. It's not a paid sponsorship, but if you're curious, there's a link with a discount code in the description. Tracking builds accountability, and when you combine that with real-time recovery and sunlight insights, you're literally optimizing your hormones while you walk. Pair with strength work. While walking is amazing for optimal physique, hormone support, you still want strength work. Squats, deadlifts. Walking is your foundation, strength training is your build. Mind the recovery, because you'll likely walk more, ensuring you're managing sleep, nutrition, hydration, and joint muscle recovery so you don't injure or stall. When you're traveling or busy, adapt. Aim for step-goal walks, choose stairs, park further, take a 10-minute brisk walk midday. Now, since this is testosterone growth, let's briefly connect walking to hormones. Walking increases blood flow, supports muscle activation, improves insulin sensitivity and lowers chronic inflammation, all of which create a more favourable internal environment for hormone health, including testosterone. When you reduce systemic inflammation, enhance circulation to tissues including testes and muscles, maintain muscle mass and manage body fat, you're indirectly supporting healthy testosterone production and signalling. Not a magic fix, but a foundational piece in your hormone optimization puzzle. So yes, lifting weights, nutrition, sleep and hormone therapy, if needed, play big roles. But if walking keeps your base solid, it's like building a house on rock. If you optimize everything else but skip the movement, foundation, you're leaving a major gap. So to recap, walking is far from boring or irrelevant. It's a high leverage habit. It improves longevity, brain health, fat loss, muscle preservation, hormone environment. It requires low barrier to entry, minimal equipment, and better compliance. You don't need to sprint through forests or run marathons unless you want to. You just need to step. If you're serious about optimizing your body, your mind, and your hormone health, and you're willing to embrace the simple stuff, I promise you walking will pay dividends. Keep it consistent, make it daily, scale it, and watch your overall system transform. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.